On this short video I just wanted to show you how I layer the coloured pencil on these white on black drawings I've been doing lately. And it's very important, I find, to actually work from the darkest parts. So the black of the paper is obviously the darkest part, and then you build up just really gradually. It's not really easy to take the white back off of this paper by erasing. It's much better to really creep up on the highlights. And I really only use two pencils. I've done so many tests now. I must have purchased just about every white coloured pencil that's available out there. And the two that I keep coming back to so far is the Faber-Castell Polychromos. Now that's what I'm using at the moment. That's what I've got in my hand. And that's really a great pencil because you can push so hard on it without breaking. The problem with lots of the others are they do break. They're quite brittle. But I find with the Polychromos it gives a real nice white. Glides over the paper lovely. But it's the thing that sells me on it more than anything is it's really a hard lead or a hard nib to the pencil. So you can push quite firmly. And you can see on this giraffe drawing I've done very recently that I'm obviously using the pencil then in the direction of the fur growth. Just the same as I would when I'm doing my oil paintings, because all of these marks are showing up. So you can see you can really use some very light marks and also push hard and get a nice white as well. But I find that it's not really good enough to give that real ultimate punch to the drawing, and that's where I bring in another pencil. But for 99% I probably use the Polychromos, and I use that for virtually every area as well, and it creates a nice sharp point, especially if you're using a mechanical hand sharpener. You can get a real fine point on it. So you can see I'm just going over the drawing. I'm just lightening areas up, building on the areas all the time, building on those layers. And I find doing these white on blacks is much more relaxing than painting in many ways, because you're not having to think about colour at all. All you're really thinking about is the contrast. And you can learn a lot from these even if you want to do paintings, because the most important part, as I've said in many of my videos, for capturing realism is not really the colours and getting them that super accurate. It's getting the contrast right, giving it shape and form. So here I've got that Derwent. This is my secret highlighter pencil, and it's Chinese white. Derwent drawing is the range, and it's a much softer lead in this pencil, so you've got to be careful when you're using it. If you sharpen it too much and too much of a point, then it's going to snap on you. If you push too hard, it's going to snap. So that's the trade-off between it and the Polychromos. But you can see how much lighter I can go. I really couldn't go any whiter with the Polychromos, and I wanted that extra punch in my drawing. Now there are a couple of other pencils out there that are pretty much as good as this, but this is what I find to be the best for me so far. And you can see how those highlights are really starting to be contrasty now. They're really starting to lift the whole drawing. See how I can get those individual hair appearances on top now? I find sometimes with this pencil it can be a good idea to get a little bit of glass paper, a fine grain one, so you can sharpen it perhaps 3/4 to what you would normally get, and then use the sandpaper and just draw the pencil over it once or twice each side and create a bit of a chisel point, and that kind of prevents it from snapping. So if you're using a normal pencil sharpener and you're getting that cylindrical point to it, it's more prone to actually snap. So I'm really punching those highlights up now, not using even half the amount of pressure I do with the Polychromos. This pencil really couldn't take that amount of pressure. You see a lot of artists, they're doing these white on blacks and it looks super contrasty, and I thought, to be honest with you, that they were using different pencils or different paper. Out of interest, I'm using Strathmore Art Again black paper, and that's the best paper I've found so far. But theirs seem to be that much more contrasty, and I really think all they are doing is actually upping the contrast in Photoshop to give it that bit more punch. I've yet to find any pencils that can make it more punchy than what I'm doing. The only other alternative you've got, if you want it even whiter on the highlights, and I do it sometimes, is just to use a little bit of gouache, designer gouache, or acrylic even, and that'll just give you that ultimate opaque white mark. Hope you've enjoyed that video, and if so, I got lots more on my YouTube channel, and don't forget, the only way not to miss out on any new videos is to click the subscribe button. On my website I've got full-length feature videos, I've got reference photo CDs and ebooks, and also the new Easy Trace line art tool. So hope to see you either on my YouTube or my website jasonmorgan.co.uk. See you all again real soon.